Yo, what up, YouTube? I want to talk real quick about the man who is, in my opinion, the most overrated boxer of all time. And this man's name is Oscar De La Hoya. Now, with the passing of Sweet Pea Whitaker, man, I decided to revisit some of the classics. And I've always felt this way about Oscar De La Hoya. But, he's a guy that it seems like the commentators were always giving him an edge and trying to create a narrative where he was winning the fight. And the commentators are always in Oscar De La Hoya fights trying to get you to not believe your eyes, man. I'm watching this fight and I'm wondering what fight they're watching. So much so to the point, in his second fight against Shane Mosley, he lost the first one pretty clearly. In his second fight against Shane Mosley, they were constantly, singing Oscar's praises. George Foreman, Jim Lampley, Oscar, Oscar, Oscar. Oscar is doing this. Oscar is doing that. And I was watching the fight with some of my brothers who I respect, who know a lot about boxing. And they were completely sucked into this commentary. And I was watching this fight like, that's not the way this fight is going. That's not the way this fight is going. And it's so much so to the point, you can research this man. First of all, the judges gave the fight to Shane. The entire press that was sitting ringside all gave the fight to Shane. And Jim Lampley and George Foreman were going on and on about how Oscar just got robbed. And listen, man, the next time that they were on the air, Jim Lampley was forced to apologize for the way he called that fight. He had to apologize. He basically said, man, I was so caught up in Oscar mania that I stopped watching the fight and I was not cognizant of what was actually happening, right? And I'm watching the fight close, right? I oftentimes watch fights very closely because I know that the commentators are trying to sway public opinion. That is their job, and they're going for the house fighter. Man, at the end of one of the rounds, I saw where Shane Mosley caught Oscar with a vicious body shot, folded him. And when he came back to the corner, Shane's father, who was his trainer at the time, said, you almost dropped him with that body shot, son. And Jim Lampley says, it might have been Larry Merchant, one of them, I think it was Jim Lampley, he says, and yeah, Shane Mosley's father is saying that, Oscar or Shane almost dropped Oscar. I don't know what he's watching. Just clown the notion that Shane Mosley could even hurt and almost drop Oscar. And I'm watching this like, hey, yo, man, he just folded this guy up like a chair and had him gasping for air. And y'all missed the whole thing. Like, what fight are you watching? And there's been a couple of other fights. First of all, man, Oscar, let me say this. I don't have any disrespect for Oscar necessarily. He always went in the ring and gave 100%. But the boxing establishment was always trying to promote the golden boy image. And they just felt like Oscar would be the perfect face of boxing. And Oscar always gave 100%. But he was not on the scale and on the par of some of the other fighters of his day. And he received the benefit of some biased judgment, hometown cooking, fighting out in California in his backyard a lot. And it's just a false narrative that he is as good as they presented him to be, right? My case in points are his fight against Ike Quartet, right? You can hear the commentators trying to psych your mind into believing that Oscar is winning this fight. He's not, okay? Pernell Whitaker, rest in peace to Pernell Whitaker. the commentators are trying very hard to get you as the viewer to believe that Oscar is winning this fight. And see, Bob Purnell is a guy who does not punch with a lot of power. He's there to score his punches, right? So they know the uneducated boxing fan, right, will go for this. Oscar shows a lot of action, and they dress that up as him winning the fight. Here's an example. I watched at the end of rounds when he was fighting Purnell, Oscar going back to the corner with his hand up in the air, for playing to the crowd. The crowd is cheering. He throws a flurry at the end of the round a lot of times. Wild flurry, right? And then right? And man, when they go back and show the replay, Oscar done missed 90% of the punches that he just threw. 90%. He may have landed one, right, out of the 10-punch flurry he just threw. And this just goes to show you that Oscar knows this game, right? The crowd they're not seeing the replay, right? They're not close enough up to know. But he knows he whiffed on all of those punches. He knows he ain't hit nothing but air. But the crowd is going crazy because he's swinging. And then he has the nerve to raise his hand there like, you see me hitting. He didn't land any of the punches. Phoniness, man. Fakeness. So like I said, man, my main case in point for Oscar being an overrated fighter, man, is the commentary in the Ike Quartet fight, the commentary in the Purnell Whitaker fight, the commentary in the Shane Mosley fights, especially the second one, man. Once again, no disrespect to Oscar De La Hoya. He always worked hard, fought hard, and did his very best. But overrated, if the word ever applied to anybody, it applies to Oscar De La Hoya. This is the Mind Spray, man. Hey, listen, man, you may have a differing opinion. Get in my comment box and let me know, man. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I want to say peace to you and your family. Peace.